I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not hear me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Start it from scratch. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not. Because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not. Because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling on my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. What do you think that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not hear me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Start it from scratch. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for the 19th race of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series. This is the next to last race of the regular season. This basically sets the table for 2 weeks from today. When we get to Auto Club Speedway and at the conclusion of that race, we will know who the 10 drivers will be that will battle for this season's championship. 10 drivers in total, 7 getting in through points, 3 getting in through wildcard spots, and oh baby, let me tell you what. Next week, or a couple weeks at Auto Club is going to be crazy, but here today is going to be nuts as well, just with the storylines we've got coming into this race based off of where drivers are starting off the grid and where they're positioned in the point standings. We'll get to that in just a moment. We're here at Hanford, this racetrack, 1.375 miles in length, so obviously shorter than a mile and a half, though it races an awful lot like a mile and a half. However, it is 3 corners. It's, like I said back in the qualifying session for both Lights and Cup, it's like a mini Pocono. 3 entirely different, unique corners, different degrees of bankings in those corners. It's an interesting track, a very interesting track, and I'm very encouraged by what I saw. I know the field was super spread out during pole day qualifying here yesterday, but with what I saw there, with what I saw out of the pole day qualifying earlier this afternoon on the Cup side, I think we're in for 2 really, really good races here this weekend. Cannot wait to see what happens here in this one. Let's talk about how convoluted it's going to be. I'm going to tell you this right now. I feel like when we eventually get the checkered flag at Auto Club, I'm not going to have any idea who the drivers are that are in, drivers that are out, drivers that got the wild card spots until everything is calculated. Because coming into this race, Aubrey Powell is 9th in overall points. Cody Majorek is 10th in overall points. Right now, those 2 drivers would be sitting in the 2nd and 3rd wildcard positions. The final 2 spots to get into the playoffs. David Dixon being the other driver that's in a wildcard spot, and he's 8th in overall points. Look where those 2 drivers I just mentioned, Powell and Majorek, are starting. On the front row. Aubrey Powell getting her 3rd pole on the season. That now stands her alone of the multi-time pole sitters. Most poles so far here in Season 2. And Cody Majorek, who's been actually really good with average starting position, a 14.78 average starting position in the last 18 races. Both of these drivers, the goal is clear here today. Find victory lane. We have gone 18 races so far here in Season 2, and 17 drivers have gone to victory lane. That is crazy, especially when you consider that of those 17 race winners, only 5 of them are in the top 7 in points, which means 12 drivers are currently trying to fight with checkered flags already this season for a wildcard spot. That is nuts. That's how convoluted it is right now. If any of these drivers, I'll name off this list right now, if any of them go to victory lane, guess what? They're battling in the championship by the time we conclude this regular season. Jordan Anderson, Autumn Brooks, who we saw go to victory lane last week at the Glen, David Dixon, Aubrey Powell, Cody Majorek, Juan Garcia, Skylar Taylor, Michael Turner, Nathan Stapleton, Wes McCoy, Dave Smith, Cole Coybe, Nathan Fogler, Craig Batson. Any of those drivers I listed, if any of them go to victory lane here at the conclusion of this one, they're going to join Cam Wright Jr. as a multi-time winner. They're going to easily lock themselves up a spot in a wild card position since we've only got 2 races left. They could point their way up into the top 7, sure, but they'd be in a wild card conversation regardless of what happens next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say. I keep saying next week, but we still have a cup race in between now and the regular season finale in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club. It's a must-win situation for any of these drivers that have formerly gone to victory lane, and it's an automatic ticket into the playoffs if they close it out here today. The question is going to be, though, how important is track position going to be? If you start up at the front, are you going to finish up at the front? If you're starting at the back, can you work your way up through the field? That's a question that we don't necessarily have the answer to right now, and it will be interesting to keep tabs on that because there are a number of interesting drivers that are starting close towards the rear of the field. Juan Garcia, Nathan Fogler, Wes McCoy, Autumn Brooks, David Dixon, all starting this race outside of the top 20, all drivers that I listed off there that have formerly won, and if they win here again this week, they're locked into the playoffs. So we'll see. How important is track position? Don't know. Will we end up seeing long green flag runs and pit road come into play? Don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I'd like to get those answered right away. Let's have them down trackside, and let's get those famous words in motorsports. Get ready to go racing here this weekend at the Hanford Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines.
You'll see your 42, your 30 car starting lineup, my apologies, on the right side of your screen, as the Chevrolet Camaro pace car will lead them off of pit road. Here's a look at what your playoff standings would have looked like had the regular season come to a close last week at Watkins Glen. 4 points separate Cam Wright Jr. and Roberto Crown Jr. Roberto, top of the board. Cam Wright Jr., 4 points back. They're both starting up inside of the top 6 here today. Colin Grace is only 14 points back. Going to be starting up in the top 10. Third in the standings. Eli Bright only 15 points back in 4th. Kyle Langland currently sits 5th with Jordan Anderson in 6th. Autumn Brooks with the victory last week dominated at Watkins Glen and moved to 7th, the final points-paying playoff spot. But she starts shotgun on the field as well. And the wild card spots go to one-time winners 8th, 9th, and 10th in overall points. David Dixon, Aubrey Powell, and Cody Majorek. Powell and Majorek start in the front row. Dixon starts on the inside of the last row. Here we go. 63 laps of racing this afternoon at Hanford Speedway. Green flag waves were underway. First time Lite drivers have ever been to this racetrack. Looking 3 wide back there as they head for turn 2. Roberto Crown Jr. way up the track. Carson Gum going to go up the middle. Nathan Stapleton on the bottom. That's 3 wide for the 5th position. Powell clear for the lead. Battle for 2nd. Majorek around the outside of Chris Dollerton. 3 wide, a couple rows deep further back as lap 1 about to be completed. Aubrey Powell will pick up a very valuable bonus point. Majorek will clear for 2nd. Dollerton now back to 3rd. Here comes Cam Wright Jr. to the outside for that spot. Great run out of turn 1. Move him up to 3rd. Dollerton back to 4th. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to keep the 95 in check as we go further back here. Look at this. Oh, we're looking 4. That's Michael Turner in the middle along with Jackson Haywood. Jordan Anderson way down on the bottom. We're 4 wide again in a couple areas of the racetrack. They made it out of turn 3. It's going to be tight here into the higher banking turn 1. Now we'll settle it out to 3 wide. Quite a number of rows deep. That's about 5-6 rows deep. 4 wide looking there. Galligan and Autumn Brooks. Got to get this settled out. Looking for again, Wes McCoy, Ralph Mason, Daniel Voiles, Brody Kupski there off of turn 2. Well, I mean, I guess it's a good sign if these drivers are confident to take it 4 wide. 4 wide again, they're out of turn 3. All these drivers trying to figure it out. How about that? Teammates 3 wide. All Mazdas. Galligan, Brooks, and Mason. 4 wide behind them with Nathan Fogler, Daniel Voiles nearly making contact. Looks like they're all going to get this all organized out here. Let's move back up to the front. See what's transpired there. Looks like Roberto Crown Jr. has managed to get around Cam Wright Jr. And now he's challenging Cody Majorek for the 2nd spot. Cam falls back to 4th, 5th place under contest. Carson Gum and Chris Dollerton, a couple of former Cup Series champions, battling for that position. Give it to Carson Gum down the front straightaway and into turn 1. Majorek still battling tough on that inside line. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to rip the top. Opens up the door now for Cam Wright Jr. to look low. The 2 drivers that have been in a fisticuffs week after week after week for the regular season championship side by side. Cam Wright Jr. will now slip by through the lower bank turn 3, pick up the 3rd spot. Carson Gum now looking for the 4th position. But Roberto Crown Jr. gets a nice run down the front straightaway. He'll hang on to the spot. Now Dollerton Gum back side by side again for 5th. Craig Batson now enters into the conversation. Remember Craig Batson, we mentioned him on that list of drivers. If he were to win, he would lock himself in on a wild card spot despite having not run 3 of the races at the beginning of the season. Jordan Anderson right behind him. Jordan 6th in overall points, but a former winner this season in his own right, back at I-69 Speedway. And just a couple cars behind him is the 38 of Cole Coybe, who currently is 22nd in points, nowhere in the conversation for a wild card position, despite having that early victory at Manassas beginning of the season. 2nd victory for him, leapfrogs all the other one-time winners. Aubrey Powell is gone with the race lead, a 2.5 advantage, back to a battle for 2nd between a couple of Chevrolet Camaros. Cody Majorek looking back at 2-time winner Cam Wright Jr. Clean air definitely looks like it is king at a track like Hanford. As now here comes Cam to the inside of Cody. Drag race it down to the start-finish line right there just before the entrance of turn 1. I believe Cam Wright Jr.'s got a faster car. And if he can get around Cody Majorek, would he maybe be able to have enough speed in that Cheetos Flamin' Hot Chevy to run down Aubrey Powell for the race lead? And look who's right behind him. Can't shake Roberto Crown Jr. He's still right there as Cam had to lift a bit there on the bottom of turn 2. And here comes the Beyblade Toyota Supra. Now to his back bumper. I've been keeping an eye on the running order here. In the question, one of the questions we had at the pre-race of, is it possible to pass here and work your way forward? And I was going to use Autumn Brooks and David Dixon, who started on the final row, kind of as the proverbial guinea pigs here. For David Dixon, he started 29th. He is currently in 27th. But for Autumn Brooks, she started 30th, and she's been able to make her way up 12 spots to 18th. So it looks like you actually can work your way through the field. I mean, I just look back there at Jordan Anderson in the 89 right now in 8th, and he started 18th. So he's picked up 10 spots since the drop of the green flag. So it looks like it is possible, if you've got the car, to be able to work your way forward. We do have a few Cup drivers in the field here this week. We didn't really document them all that much yesterday in pole day qualifying, but you see Carson Gum up here inside the top 10, the all-star car out of Garage 55. That extra track time yesterday helped him earlier on this afternoon as well in the Cup Series qualifying. He'll start tomorrow afternoon's race in the 5th position. We've also got Destin Bolin, who has been on a bit of a skid as of late in the Cup Series. He's in the Bishop Family Racing All-Star car here this week, despite the fact he is at the tail end of the field right now in the 28th position. And then, of course, we've got some of our usuals as well, with Daniel Voiles, of course, not running for points, but running full-time here for the remainder of the season on the light side in that World NOS Racing entry. Sarah Fogelman is behind the wheel of the 11 this week, the all-star car out of Trackhouse Racing. Cody Majorek was able to hold off Cam Wright Jr., and he is slowly, painstakingly slowly, reeling in Aubrey Powell for the race lead. That last time by, Aubrey Powell was a tick quicker, despite the fact that Majorek has been able to close up what was a 1.8-second advantage, now back to a 1.5 seconds. We'll follow lap times this time by, as Aubrey Powell currently with the fastest lap of the race, a 41.179, now already down in the 41.8s, and that time a 42.4 to Majorek's 42 flat. So 0.4 of a second gained right there, and the closer he gets, the more draft he's going to get on these straightaways, allowing him to close up the gap even further. Cam Wright Jr., Roberta Crown Jr., Chris Dollerton right now, the top 5. Let's go back and find that 62 of Autumn Brooks, or I'm sorry, the 60 of Autumn Brooks. I'm used to her Cup Series number, as she's now looking on the outside of Eli Bright. Remember, this is a car that started from dead last. I believe was the only driver that didn't hit a 41-second lap time in pole day qualifying yesterday. But apparently some good long run speed, as she's going to work her way around the outside of Eli Bright. And that last time by Autumn was actually scored in 16th place. So has gained 14 spots in 14 laps. And remember, picked up that victory last week at Watkins Glen that moved her up 4 spots in the standings to 7th, the final points-paying playoff spot. So a bit of a bubble spot here to come into this weekend if you're Autumn Brooks. But really seems to like that top line through these corners, and it's been working for her. Juan Garcia, Eli Bright, a couple of teammates out of Trackhouse Racing. Slightly different scenarios for both of them coming into this race. For Eli Bright, great run last week at the Glen. His road course program has been on point, which I think is going to be important due to the fact that if he advances in the playoffs, our first playoff race is at Road America here in the light schedule. 4th in overall standings, 15 points out of the points lead too. Don't count Eli out of the conversation of maybe getting the regular season championship. For Juan Garcia, though, he is 12th in points. He is the first driver with a victory outside of the playoff grid. He's only 8 points behind Cody Majorek. Now, granted, Majorek is running up here towards the front. So too is Aubrey Powell, but you kind of look at maybe a David Dixon, who is still mired back in 27th. If he falls further, an opportunity maybe for Juan Garcia to capitalize and maybe work his way up into one of those wild card spots. Roberta Crown Jr. has managed to get around Cam Wright Jr., and now the 95 is under fire from Chris Dollerton. So that's something else we're going to see here too. We were talking about drivers with a long run speed. Now we're going to start to enter into the territory of finding out what drivers had the short run speed and are going to have the most amount of fall off here. Last year when we ran the Cup Series race here for the first time, we didn't get the opportunity to see green flag pit stops. We were under the yellow flag too much. So far we've been able to run these first 17 laps, at least in this lights race, clean and green. And now we'll get an idea of what a fuel window would look like here at Hanford We don't know if it's one stop. We don't know, maybe 2 stops here, depending on what the fuel consumption is. The tire wear is definitely there. I mean, Aubrey Powell out here, clean air and everything, and she's already running a full 1.5 seconds slower. That time by 2 seconds slower than her fastest lap. So the tire wear is definitely happening, which is what makes it impressive when you see drivers here this late into a run still be able to pick up spots. They've been able to preserve those good years. They've got the setup to be able to continue moving forward. Couple of battles going on a little bit further back here. Kat Batson right now trying to break into the top 10. Cole Coybe just ahead. Skylar Taylor there in the 29 right now holds the, I think just got the 9th spot from Cole Coybe. We'll get confirmation on that when they cross the line. If not, Skylar is in the 10th position, which he is 10th. Coybe 11th. Kat Batson currently in 12th. Skylar Taylor, of course, got the season started off with a bang. Got that victory at Daytona. Comes into this race the 2nd driver out of a playoff spot as far as the wild card is concerned. Currently 13th in overall points, but Taylor actually hit a point where he was not qualifying well, not running well, and has seemed to turn a corner. So maybe we'll start to see Skylar Taylor here down this home stretch find something to be able to get into the playoffs. It's incredible, too, because if we go back to last season, we were not even discussing the word playoffs. The playoffs didn't exist in the Lite Series in the inaugural season. It was like classic point system. Whoever ended up getting the most points at the conclusion of the season won the championship, and that was eventually Eric Monaco. This is the first time playoffs have been implemented here in the Lite Series. And for better or for worse, it's made things a lot more confusing, but it's made things a lot more competitive, too, into who's going to be fighting for a playoff spot at the conclusion of the regular season. We've had some incredible races at some incredible racetracks here so far, and I look ahead at the playoffs, too, at some of the racetracks we're going to. My goodness, it's going to be an endurance test for whoever eventually ends up making it into the postseason. Well, Aubrey Powell, this has been a plan A if you're the driver of the Interstate Batteries Toyota Supra. Qualified on the pole, has had clean air on the nose the entirety of this race, has led the opening 20 laps, and just looking to hit her marks. Remember, a checkered flag for Aubrey Powell means Aubrey Powell is locked into the playoffs. We've gotten to the point now this season, this is the second to last race of the regular season. We've gotten to the point now where we can officially say if a driver is locked in or not. Cam Wright Jr. we know is officially locked in. Everybody else mathematically is not yet locked in. Even points leader Roberta Crown Jr. is only 39 points ahead of the cut line, and in 2 races could drop out of the top 7 in the point standings. Now, granted, more than likely wouldn't lose enough spots to fall out of a wild card spot, but stranger things have happened. We can't give that playoff spot to the 18 just yet. The only driver we know for absolute certain right now that is going to go playoff racing is the only multi-time winner on the season in Cam Wright Jr. If Aubrey Powell wins this afternoon, would be a multi-time winner locked into the playoffs. Same can be said for some of those drivers, though, just behind in 2nd and 3rd. Cody Majorek and Roberta Crown Jr., both former winners on the season, one-time winners. A second victory for them, they're locked in. Cam Wright Jr., despite drifting back, has been able to kind of stay in that 4th position. Now Carson Gump putting the pressure on him. But Cam's done a good job here. I was kind of worried. It was looking like that car was one that was going to fall off here on the long run. He's been able to maintain. And Carson will clear, not quite. Tries to clear, they're off of turn 1. You know, if we're looking potentially at green flag pit stops here, we don't know how difficult this pit road is to get onto. Again, there's a lot of question marks, despite the fact that we've run this track before a season ago in the Cup Series side. Don't know how difficult this pit road is to get onto, how difficult it is to get off. We don't know what the fuel window is, so we don't know exactly what the target lap is for these drivers. I mean, if you're going to make this race on one stop, it's pretty easy. Your target lap would be somewhere around lap 32, I would say, just past halfway, which is about 7 laps from now. But I think that more so than fuel, tires are going to be the main concern here for these drivers. I mean, looking at some of these guys right now, we were running in the low to mid 41s at the beginning of this race. Our pace is back down now where we are running in the mid 44s. Yeah, 3 seconds of fall off. And that's a big reason why the race officials and administration went to great lengths to try and make sure that we could come back to this racetrack, because the tire fall off is so huge. This is a worn out race surface, and it makes for incredible racing as to who's got good long run cars. We don't normally go to tracks where we see this type of fall off but still see the racing as good as it is. I mean, look, we're still side by side back there for currently the 5th position. So to that end, kudos to NNSCRA administration for doing everything to try and make sure we could come back here. Not only that, but added the Lites drivers to the schedule here as well for this doubleheader. And I said this at the close of Cup qualifying earlier this afternoon. With what I saw in the side-by-side racing in pole day qualifying yesterday for the Lites drivers, pole day qualifying earlier this afternoon for the Cup drivers, was really looking forward to these 2 races. I mean, look at this. 27 laps into this race, nearly 3 to 4 seconds of fall off, and we're side by side for 2nd place. Roberto Crown Jr. looking for the spot on Cody Majoric. Normally, if we were at a racetrack that had this type of fall off, the field would be single file, spread out, nobody would be able to make any type of passes. That's not the case here. And we know as well, we had this announcement last week about the fact that the Cup Series drivers, the physics has been changed over to the same physics as the Lites drivers, CTS physics. So if we're seeing this type of racing here with the Lites drivers, expect to see more of the same here tomorrow afternoon. Well, I feel bad for Aubrey Powell. We haven't really been showcasing that 71 car for a majority of this race, despite leading 27 laps. But we've been watching the battle for 2nd, going on nearly 2.3 seconds behind her. Dominating performance here for Aubrey Powell. Everybody else, 2nd place on back, all kind of wadded up. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, a blessing and a curse. You've got a strong race car, nobody is there to challenge you, but at the same time, you're not the forefront of the TV camera. As Jordan Anderson is on the move. He may have the fastest car right now inside of this top 10. He's been able to work his way now up to 4th, made quick work of Carson Gum, and now he'll look to see what he can do with Roberto Crown Jr. and Cody Majoric, who for a brief moment we're going to go side by side for 2nd place. Good run out of both the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars here, with the 70 now going to 3rd as Roberto Crown Jr. completes that pass, and Anderson currently in 4th. Will look low on his teammate now for 3rd. Where did Jordan start this race? 18th place. And is now fighting for 2nd. We're going to go 3 wide. Going into 1. Majoric's going to back out of that. Another driver I just noticed back there that's been able to work his way forward since the drop of the green flag is Kyle Langland. He is right now 10th. There he was just back there, right side of your screen. The Chicago Blackhawks Dark Horse Mustang started 20th, up 11 spots. And of course as well, the claw to the front continues for Autumn Brooks. Last time by was 11th and then just drifted back to 13th. But again, remember we mentioned that she started shotgun on the field. Here comes Anderson looking to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. down the front straightaway. And if Anderson can get by the 18, this may be the strongest contender to try and close up on Aubrey Powell for the race lead. But the more they battle for second, the more that helps the 71. Because the 71 has nobody that they're battling. They get to choose the line they want going into the corner, how quickly they want to get back to the throttle, what line they want on the exit of the corner. They're just basically out there just hitting their marks. If you're back here battling side by side, you're not getting that optimal lane into the corner. You're also having to deal with the side draft down the straightaways, which doesn't make you faster. It actually makes you and the car you're battling slower. But Roberto Crown Jr. fought off that charge from Jordan Anderson, and now opens up quite a bit of daylight as well. Skylar Taylor has now moved up into the 4th spot. So the 89 and the 29 both moving forward, as we are now at the halfway point. So now, I'm pretty certain these drivers can't make it 63 laps on fuel. So now comes the question of when do you pit? And I feel like if you're Aubrey Powell, you want to be one of the first ones onto pit road. You don't want anybody to leapfrog you, undercut you, because we've already established there's about 3, maybe 4 seconds that can be gained on fresh tires, and Aubrey right now only has a 2.8 second gap back to Roberto Crown Jr. So let's say it's only 3 seconds that you can make up on fresh tires. That's 2/10 advantage. If you're Roberto Crown Jr., you come to pit road 1 lap sooner than Aubrey Powell and have that out lap. As a matter of fact, looking right now, I believe that Roberto Crown Jr. is running lap times maybe a little bit quicker than Aubrey Powell. Oh yeah, that last time by was actually, wow, 6/10 faster? A 45.7 to a 44.9. So before we even get to potential pit stops, we may have a battle for the lead. Oh, look at this. Aubrey Powell going to come to pit road. That's smart. Roberto Crown Jr. and Skylar Taylor coming in as well. I love that call there by the 71. Was getting reeled in. Said, nope, this isn't going to happen. We need to get tires, level the playing field again. Looks like just about everybody's coming down here. I think we had some drivers come down pit road before this, and David Dixon's going to stay out. So this is an interesting strategy call for the 45. They kind of have to do something different. But because before this pit stop cycle was going on, he was running dead last. And remember, we documented David Dixon fell out of the top 7 in points last week at Watkins Glen. He came into this race in the first wild card spot. This car is obviously not where it needs to be here this weekend, so they have to roll the dice, try something different, maybe see if they can come to pit road a little bit later, take advantage of fresh tires on the long run. Cat Batson, Juan Garcia also stayed out an extra lap, and they are on pit road at this time. There's the 89 of Jordan Anderson, Carson Gum. I believe they were some of the first ones onto pit road. We'll have to see where they cycle around to. I think they both may have actually leapfrogged Aubrey Powell. So there you go. The short pit strategy, that 3 to 4 seconds that you can gain on fresh tires, that's what it just translated to. I believe it's going to put Jordan Anderson to the lead, Carson Gum to second, and Aubrey Powell, who led the first 32 laps of this race, is now going to be slotted back in third. Granted, though, she's got a good race car. She's going to have 1 lap fresher tires. We'll see what she can do with it. Indeed, that last time by, the Castrol GTX Chevrolet Camaro of Jordan Anderson jumps to the top of the board. Jordan already in the top 7 in points, but a second victory would solidify him a spot in the playoffs. We'll wait here until they cross the line one more time before we take a look and see what the official running order is after this cycle of pit stops. And now we're good to go. We're good to make it on fuel, provided you got the tank completely full. Now you've got what you've got for the second half of this race. Anderson just laid down his fastest lap of the race. That is the fastest lap overall as well. 41.170. 9 thousandths faster than the 179 put down by Aubrey Powell. Carson Gum just put his fastest lap of the race down at 41.280 as he cycles to second. Powell, who led the first 32 laps, is now in third. Roberto Crown Jr. currently is fourth. He just got that spot from Skylar Taylor, who goes back to fifth. Chris Dollerton's been in the top 10 all day, cycles to sixth. How about Colin Grace in seventh place, battling for that regular season championship? Fastest lap of the race right there for him, a 41.173. Currently slotted in 7th. Cam Ray Jr. currently in 8th. 9th place will be Craig Batson, and 10th is under contest. That's Kyle Langland to the inside of Cody Majorek. Majorek lost a ton of track position on that green flag pit stop cycle. 12th place right now, Cole Coybe. Jackson Haywood currently is scored in 13th, 14th for Brody Kupski, Autumn Brooks in 15th. Michael Turner, 16th place, 17th for Nathan Fogler. And then Eli Bright all the way back now in 18th. That 20 car fell off hard. As did Juan Garcia, who's in 20th with Sean Galligan in between the two of them. Right now in 19th place. Who are some of the drivers we got to worry about? Look at these drivers back here. Garcia, Stapleton, Wes McCoy, 19th through 21st. Boy, no show here today for a couple of our Cup drivers there. Daniel Voiles, Destin Bolin, Dave Smith all the way back in 29th place. He was 17th in overall points. I believe he would have been the 5th or 6th driver outside of a wild card spot. And then David Dixon. He's got the fresher tires, 1 or 2 left fresher tires than everybody else, but look how far back he is. He's even 5 car lengths off Dave Smith. Right now running last car in the 30th position. David Dixon, who was a multi-time winner last season, got an early victory this season at Phoenix. Boy, it could be a very testy scenario for the 45 car next week at a couple of weeks ago to go at Auto Club, whether he's going to be in a playoff spot or not. Watching lap times here right now, Jordan Anderson, the fastest of the top 3. Aubrey Powell is actually second fastest. Carson Gum about 2 to 3 tenths off of both the 89 and the 71. So the battle for second place may heat up before the battle for the race lead does. But we'll have to see about long run speed once again. And Jordan Anderson, that car was very good on the long run before the pit stop cycle. But again, this is something too that we're going to have to keep an eye on here tomorrow. And you guarantee you, not only the drivers that are participating here today, but the drivers that are going to be in the Cup race tomorrow are watching this race. They have seen what the undercut can do, how much track position it can gain you, and that I think is something we will see utilized here tomorrow. Tomorrow's race is going to be 81 laps in total, so we're probably going to see 2 pit stops during the course of that race since we were able to go, what was it, about 34, 35 laps here before we saw them all hit pit road. Let's drop back to third. Battle is on. Roberta Crown Jr. closing up on Aubrey Powell. Both these drivers came to pit road on the same lap. And Roberta Crown Jr. appears to be just a tick quicker, maybe, than our pole sitter. Colin Grace back there in the 5th spot. So Eli Bright currently mired back in the... Let's see, where did he cycle around to? 18th position. That, at least for the time being, takes him out of the conversation for the regular season championship. Cam Wright Jr. is back in 8th. Roberta Crown Jr. in 4th. And Colin Grace right now in the 5th position. So right now it could be a 4-horse race for that regular season championship when we get to Auto Club next week. That is provided that nothing happens to any of those 3 drivers here in these final 20 laps. Something has happened to the 19 of Juan Garcia. We've just been told he has brought his Jack Daniels Toyota to pit road and made the left-hand turn to the garage area. A mechanical failure for him, and so that might bring some concern if you're Roberta Crown Jr., because that's a teammate that has just retired out of the race. And for Juan Garcia now, 12th in points, was the first driver out of a wild card spot, a former winner this season. Juan Garcia will be going into the Auto Club race in a couple of weeks' time in a must-win scenario. Carson Gum, We mentioned his lap time's not nearly as good as race leader Jordan Anderson or Aubrey Powell. Roberto Crown Jr. got around the 71, and now he'll go to work here on the 55. Roberto Crown Jr. was running down Aubrey Powell just before the pit stop began. So we'll see now if he can get by the 55, if he can try running down that 89. Aubrey Powell, of course, as well. Appears to have a good long run car, and both the 18 and the 71 have one lap, at least one lap fresher tires than the 89 car. They'll both get by Carson Gum. Now we'll do some comparison of lap times here from the 89 to the 18. We won't do it this time because Roberto Crown Jr. had to complete that pass around Carson Gum, so we'll not have an optimal lap time this time around, but we'll see this next time by. There's about 2/10 advantage for Jordan Anderson, but again, Roberto Crown Jr. was battling with Carson for second place. Let's see this time now, as Roberto Crown Jr. was able to choose the lanes he wanted in the three corners. Is there an advantage, disadvantage for the 89? Good lap time there. 3/10 pickup from his previous lap. 42.279 for Jordan Anderson. 42.480 for Roberto Crown Jr. And he's got his hands full here with Aubrey Powell, and Powell's teammate Colin Grace just swung around Carson Gum to move to fourth. Don't count out the Exalta machine. Colin Grace got his first win at Hillside. Currently third in points, in a playoff position, as really high there. Still hangs on to the spot against Carson Gum, though, in P4. Well, I think that time, Roberto Crown Jr. might have been faster. 42.8 for Jordan Anderson, 42.4 for Roberto Crown Jr. 0.4 of a second cut down. Gap at the line, I believe, 1.3 seconds between first and second place. No more pit stops. Tires are going to be screaming at the conclusion of this run as they pitted just past the halfway point. And that means we're probably going to see another 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds of fall off here again at the close of this one. Who's going to save those tires for the very close of this race? A couple of drivers that have kind of faded back here. Cam Wright Jr. now has drifted to the 9th spot, trying to hold off Jackson Haywood. Just ahead of him, Chris Dollerton has also fallen off a bit, back to 8th position. And just ahead of them, Cody Majorek, who was up there in the top 5. He's just currently riding in the 7th spot. Still going to be some good points days for those drivers, regardless, but not where they were running first half of this race. Is Colin Grace going to work by his teammate? And Colin is going to move to 3rd. Keep an eye on this 27. He's been sneaky fast on the long run. And he's been laying down some really good lap times here as well. Question will be, will Colin Grace reel in Roberto Crown Jr. before Roberto Crown Jr. catches Jordan Anderson for the race lead? That time by 0.3 of a second faster was Roberto Crown Jr. to the race leader, and has cut the interval now down to 1.4 seconds. It's been kind of give a little, take a little here between the top two. One runs faster than the other one lap, and then vice versa the second lap. Right there, 0.6 of a second cut down. A 42.7 for Anderson, a 42.1 for Roberto Crown Jr. And Colin Grace with a 42.5, trying to close in on the both of them. Skylar Taylor going to make his way by fellow Mazda Carson Gum. Yeah, Carson gained track position there with the short pit call, but now he is paying the price for it as he's going to drift outside of the 5th position to 6th. And that would make me worried if I'm Jordan Anderson, because Anderson and Gum, I believe, both pitted on the same lap. Now, granted, I believe Jordan Anderson has a better long-run car than Carson does. We kind of saw that in the first half of this race. But As these laps continue to tick away and those tires continue to wear down, I think the advantage then falls to Roberto Crown Jr. and Colin Grace. The laps ticking away are going to be the best friend right now if you're Jordan Anderson. We haven't seen quite the fallout out of him as we saw out of Carson, though. And if you're Jordan Anderson, you want that 27 to catch the 18 and to battle with him for a while, allowing you to maybe open the gap up again. Interval is maintained, despite the fact that we keep seeing the fluctuation of the lap times back and forth. It's still been holding about 1.7 seconds here for the last 5 laps. As now here comes that Exalta Toyota, about a car length off the back bumper of Roberto Crown Jr., maybe a couple of car lengths there. That camera angle a little deceptive off of turn 1. We haven't done this yet today, so why don't we go on board with the Exalta Toyota, listen to what it's like to make your way around this mini Pocono as Colin Grace looks to put the pressure on for the runner-up spot. 10 laps to go, and you saw it there with the onboard. The battle for the lead over just as quickly as it started. Roberto Crown Jr., the points leader, goes by Jordan Anderson, takes the top position. Looking for his 2nd win on the season, 3rd win of his Lite Series career. And looking maybe to not only join Cam Wright Jr. as a multi-time winner on the season, not only lock himself up a spot in the playoffs, but maybe wrap up the regular season championship as well, which pays out an extra 15 bonus points towards the playoffs. That can be huge when you get into that first round, which is going to comprise of Road America, Nashville Superspeedway, and Dover. Colin Grace got to make quick work here of Jordan Anderson if he's going to have anything for Roberto Crown Jr. here for this race win. Jordan Anderson, I liked the call that he did there. That short pit strategy got him the race lead. Losing the top spot, though, means that Aubrey Powell is going to get the bonus point for most laps led. 32 circuits for her, 19, for Jordan Anderson. Juan Garcia led a lap during the cycle of pit stops, and now Roberto Crown Jr. has led the last 3. Those are your only race leaders so far here this afternoon. As it's been a while since Roberto Crown Jr. has last been to victory lane, the road course of Sonoma, back near the beginning of the season. And this time by, Roberto Crown Jr. is going to see the flagman show 7 laps to go. Gap is not that big back to Colin Grace. Question is, does Colin Grace have anything left? 2 tenths quicker that last time by was the 27. For both of these drivers, 18 and the 27. A win is an automatic ticket into the postseason. They're 1st and 3rd, respectively, in points. Going to be a great points day for Aubrey Powell, who came into this one in the 2nd wild card spot. Could point her way up into the top 7. Skylar Taylor, a well-needed run, currently in 5th. To try and get back up into a wild card conversation. Cody Majoric, who came in the last driver in a wild card spot. Third and final wild card position, right now in 6th. So some good runs for some drivers that needed it. And I can't say enough about some of these drivers like Jordan Anderson and Kyle Langland and Autumn Brooks, how they were able to work their way from poor starting positions. Anderson 18th, Langland 20th, Autumn Brooks shotgun on the field, and they're going to finish in the top 15. Autumn Brooks right now in 11th, Kyle Langland in 7th, and Anderson currently holding the final spot on the podium. Now the gap is maintained. Big drive there into turn 1, though, by Colin Grace. Look at the gap he just closed up there. Look at the ground he gained through turn 1. Going all out here, realizing lap times are ticking away with 5 to go that last time by. And he is there. Question is, how much of his tires is he using up, driving it that deep into the corner? And will he have enough left if he can get there to Roberto Crown Jr.? Their lap times were almost even that previous lap. 0.006 better was Colin Grace. Look at now. It was about, what, 2 car lengths when they crossed the line last time by? Now 1.5. And let's see if Colin Grace has a solid turn 1 here again. Looking a half groove lower. Looking. Left rear quarter panel. Is he there? He might be. Oh, I don't think he's quite there. Maybe. Still going to stay low. Drives it into 2. Oh, we can't quite get there. Had to lift a little bit there on corner exit. Roberto Crown Jr. with a nice run there off the top side. And now Colin Grace will have to try again. And Jordan Anderson's not out of this thing. They got by the 89. I thought they were going to leave him in the dust. He's still right there hanging with him. 3 laps to go here at Hanford. What an incredible debut race this has been for the Lite Series. And this is just maybe shades of what's to come tomorrow afternoon when the Cup Series drivers take to this venue for the 2nd time. That might have been the last gasp there for Colin Grace. Look at the gap now that Roberto Crown Jr. has been able to open up. He is driving away. Colin's going to have 2 laps left here when they come around to the stripe. He's going to have to make up at least half of this distance, maybe 2/3 of this distance in this lap alone. 2 laps to go for Roberto Crown Jr. Colin Grace, what can he do here in 1? Can he utilize this corner again to close up? That last time by, he was 0.3 of a second slower than the 18. But it looked like visibly he was a little stronger there through turn 1. This is where Roberto Crown Jr. has been at his best through turn 2. Maintained the gap, it looked like there. Now the pivotal turn 3. I don't think Colin closed up half the distance. Maybe 1/3 of it. As he looked like he had to lift there coming off of turn 3. 1 more lap to go. Just needs to be mistake-free if you're Roberto Crown Jr. looking for his 2nd win on the season. Here comes Colin Grace, though. 1 last-ditch effort. Big dive into turn 1. Close the gap up again. Oh, he got a good run, too. Here he comes. Is he going to be able to get to the inside here into 2? He's alongside of him. Can he get back to the throttle? No, he can't. Roberto Crown Jr. got the better run off of 2. Last try here for Colin Grace. Shallow entry into 3. Roberto Crown Jr. was able to diamond it. Great challenge there from Colin Grace, but going to come up just short. Roberto Crown Jr. will be the 2nd multi-time winner on the season. He is locked into the playoffs as he wins at Hanford. He'll now look 2 weeks from today to lock up the regular season championship. Look at that 3 wide across the line for, what was that, I think the 13th position? But Roberto Crown Jr. becomes only the 2nd driver to pick up a multiple win season he will continue to lead the points, and he will look in 2 weeks' time to take home another 15 bonus points with the regular season championship. But he is confirmed going to be battling for the championship here in Season 2. Colin Grace will bring it home second. Can't say for certain. We'll have to wait for the mathematics. But did that runner-up finish just lock himself up a playoff spot on points? And Jordan Anderson, same deal for him. 6th in points coming into this one. He's going to get away from that 7th in the standings cut line. I don't know if he'll lock himself up a spot on points or not, but he is certainly going to give himself a little bit more breathing space going into the regular season finale at Auto Club in a couple of weeks' time. Standings official. Here is a look at how they completed this race. What a great race here. Cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm so glad we came back to this racetrack, gave it a second chance. Roberto Crown Jr. with the win. Colin Grace second. Jordan Anderson third. Well-needed run for Aubrey Powell. We talked about that she came in a playoff spot, started on the pole, brings it home in 4th, gets the bonus point for the most laps led as well. This, I think, may move Aubrey up into the top 7 in overall points. Cody Major, make that Skylar Taylor. Sorry, skipped over the 29. This, I think, puts him back in the wild card conversation heading into Auto Club. 5th place run. Cody Majoric, does this keep him in the wild card conversation, or does he move into the top 7 in points? I think it's either or for him. Kyle Langland, 5th in the standings. Look at these drivers that are running so well in the points. Needed these runs to keep the consistency going. They're getting them. Kyle Langland, 5th in points. He was, what was he, 12 points? No, 17 points ahead of that 7th in standings cut line. And he nets a 7th place run. Autumn Brooks starts shotgun on the field. I cannot believe that. That gives so much encouragement to me for tomorrow in the fact that passing is possible here at Hanford. Started 30th, finished 8th, came in the cut line driver. 7th in points, 1 week removed from that victory at Watkins Glen. Michael Turner, Cam Wright Jr., 9th and 10th for Cam Wright Jr. This, I think, solidifies himself in the playoffs. He was already locked in with his 2 victories, but he's obviously going to be in the playoffs now. He and Roberto Crown Jr., they can keep that fight going on. However, though, he is going to lose some ground to Roberto Crown Jr. Roberto bettering him by 9 positions, add in the bonus point for a lap led. So I think it's going to be 14 points between Roberto Crown Jr. and Cam Wright Jr. For that regular season championship. Colin Grace won't be that far back. Colin's going to be only 15 points out. So, well, is it 15 or 16? Maybe 16 points out. So 3 drivers, I think, are going to be in the hunt for that regular season championship at Auto Club Speedway. And Michael Turner, 9th place performance for him. He was 14th in overall points. I believe he was the 3rd driver outside of the wild card spot. We'll have to see. Does this put him back into a wild card position? Maybe. Very well could. Who knows? You look down through the rest of the finishing results here, though, and there's a lot of drivers. When we get to Auto Club next week, I feel they're going to be in a must-win situation. And ironically enough, I think we're going to be looking more at drivers that have already won this season than drivers that are looking for their first win. Just due to the fact we have so many one-time winners, a second win is going to be necessary to get yourself a high-seeded wildcard position. As Juan Garcia, I think, is going to fall into that category. He was the only driver that did not reach the conclusion here today. Man, David Dixon, that is not the run he was looking for here. I think he's falling out of the top 7 in points. Is he going to stay in a wildcard spot? I have no idea. Nathan Stapleton, Dave Smith, these guys did not need these runs here today. And I don't know what the heck happened to Chris Dollerton. Dollerton was up in the top 10 almost the entirety of the day, and all of a sudden late we see him drift out to finish in the 25th spot. So that car really fell off hard in the second half of this one, even the final quarter of this race. Not sure exactly what happened to him, but not the finish indicative of how strong that car looked here in the first half of this event. But right now I'm looking at it. Juan Garcia, Nathan Stapleton, Wes McCoy, Dave Smith, Cole Coybe, Nathan Fogler, Craig Batson. It's must win for them in 2 weeks, I think, if they're going to even have a ghost of a shot at a wild card spot. There's some other drivers that potentially could get a win and point their way up into the top 7 in the standings. There's not many of them, though. I think maybe Jackson Haywood maybe could fall into that category, but aside from him, all the rest of the drivers around him are one-time winners that are looking for a wild card spot or maybe for one of those final points-paying positions, 6th or 7th place. Who's in those spots going in? Who's going to be in those spots leaving Auto Club? I don't know. But an incredible race here today from Hanford. Roberto Crown Jr., his 2nd win of the season, 3rd win of his career here in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Cannot wait for the Cup race here tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage of today's race here for the Lite Series. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We have shown you your full finish results, and you're now looking at the point standings as a result of these finishes. Who is going playoff racing? We know that Roberto Crown Jr. is. We know Cam Wright Jr. is. Jury is out on the other ones. We'll find out the answers in a couple of weeks' time, as next week it's just the Cup drivers at Bristol Dirt, and then the Lites drivers rejoin the Cup drivers at Auto Club. So until the next Lites race in 2 weeks, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, Offline Racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.